So I just got home from checking out the new Yorgos Lanthimos film starring Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, even people like Stavros Halkias, who was great to see him in this film, though I don't necessarily know he fully fits in the film and feels kind of like the outsider in the mix, but it was nice to see him in here as a fan of comedy and as a fan of his style of comedy for sure. But with all that said, yeah, this is one of those films that I think is going to work for some and not work for others. But one thing to absolutely praise is that if you've seen Yorgos Lanthimos films, he is a director that leans into absurd. He's a director that leans into comedic elements and dark satire that just go for it and don't really care about being conventional. And I think in every Yorgos Lanthimos way, this film works in those ways. It's a film that commits to what it is, it understands what it is, it leans into its absurdity, and it has great performances at the center of it, with Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone giving two incredibly committed performances in a film about a conspiracy theorist who captures a pharmaceutical giant CEO and thinks she's an alien. And over the course of the film, the narrative tackles the idea of being so consumed by your own ideas, maybe things that you've seen online that kind of build a concept in your mind, and maybe the notion of being lost in these conspiracies that are fed by media or personalities online, things that you've read, or the avoidance of certain media and kind of leaning into media that has a specific bias. It's an interesting film that's definitely on the nose sometimes with what it's trying to say, but is ultimately compelling, while sometimes it does meander and sometimes feels like it is a little bit too on the nose. I think the performances elevate the material, and the end of the film is either going to make you think, what did I just watch? I didn't like that. Or that was so bonkers and weird that I loved how much they really committed to it. I ultimately found myself somewhere in the middle where I really appreciated how much this film just went for it. But it's also the kind of film that I can tell myself, I don't know if I'm clamoring to rewatch it. It's a film that at times did feel a little slow, did feel like it meandered, but a film that ultimately I really appreciated what it was trying to say. I really appreciated the performances. But I do want to wrap up this quick video by saying, to the guy who was sat beside me at this theater, there is no world whatsoever where your breath that was so repulsive and so powerful should have been hitting me in a way where it's almost like you took my nose and cupped it with your mouth and was just full on sending that breath into my nostrils. There's just no reason. But anyway, I have a full review for this movie over on YouTube if you guys want to hear more. But I think this is the kind of film that may be divisive, but I walked away from it more positive than negative.